So this is is partly what teaching's all about. It's half term, so there's as with all of us, there's be other things that I'd like to do, but it's one thing I wanted to really kind of get a grips with their most recent assessment and what they did. So as I say, I'm just going to have a wee look and sort of see basically how they're getting on. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at our last big assessment, okay? Why did William win the Battle of Hastings? Okay, and what we're going to do with that is you're going to have a look at some of the comments that I've put down, okay? Now, if you remember the comments, there should be things that you've done really well that I want you to remember, and one thing which I would like you to improve upon. Okay? Everyone will read their assessment and the comments that are at the bottom. Okay? Try to answer the question I've set as your next step. Justy, could you tell us what you've done?
If Block G fell over, Harold would have won because all his troops were tired and worn out because they had a battle before that.
They had a battle before, so therefore we've said that these troops were tired and therefore that's the big reason. Okay? Now that's brilliant, folks, and I know it's a bit messy. I know it's a bit messy, the thinking, but thinking is messy. It takes a bit of time. I think doing any kind of a assessment for learning exercise is going to be challenging, because by its nature you're challenging the pupil to do something beyond than what they were able to do before. It's not going to be that kind of perfect oh yes, I know exactly what to do next, because it's messy, you know what I mean? It is messy, and progression is messy. So we're just on our way up to see Sally Burnham. Sally and I did our PGCE together in Cambridge, so it's great that we'll have this opportunity to join one of her sessions. Wanted to go up with Esther and Simon, because she's been doing so many sort of interesting things, looking at assessment without levels, which is a very pertinent topic for us as a school at the minute.
The real challenge of assessment is more and more these days senior management are asking staff to use level descriptors as a way to monitor on a every 2 to 3 week basis, perhaps on individual pieces of work. And with history, the level descriptors are so broad, they're designed to be used at the end of Key Stage 3. And so trying to use them for an individual piece of work makes them totally meaningless.
Hello there. Hello, nice to meet you.
Hi, I'm Esther. I'm Sally.
Nice
Hello.
to meet you. Hello.
Simon.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Hey, how's it
Hello.
going? Good to see you. How are you?
Right.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, bro.
Have a seat. We've got my two PGC trainees. This is Chrissy and Claire, and Karen, who works in my department with me.
See, Sally, I brought my marking with me, so I thought we were all going to do it.
Is that it?
We don't do a lot of assessment.
What I'm going to talk about may be controversial. And you may think, no, I disagree with you totally, which is fine, all right? Nod your head, shake your heads, whatever. The idea is to really get to grips with what this challenge of assessment is actually about, and how we can actually get better at it. The whole idea is that what you tend to do is to write a mark scheme for what you're looking at. You know what you're looking for. You know whether you're focusing on causation or interpretations, or you're looking at extended writing. Which bit is it you're assessing? And you focus your mark scheme in on that. Because if you try to take the levels encompass so many different things, but you're not marking all of those things.
Have parents been happy with that though? I mean, if at parents' evenings, if you're not able to actually give a firm kind of attainment where they are the parents been satisfied with just saying, well, they're doing this well, but they can do this better, or do they want a certain grade to be able to reflect on?
We do have to give a level for a report. We do a gut reaction. And the way the parents know if things are getting better or not is because we do get them to look at the work and read the comments and sign it. If we're talking about getting better at history and using marking and assessment to get better at history, how can we actually build that into reality? If you took this mark scheme on William in the Battle of Hastings, all right, and you were to think about how you would go about moving it up the next stage, what would you have in your mark scheme that would show progression from the first essay in Year 7? So would you want it to be beyond that? Would you want it to stay the same?
It's a really interesting question. I think there's, on the one hand, I'd want to move it on.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I wouldn't want to make the students keep feeling that every time they were doing something, the goalposts were changing.
Yeah. Should you give them something in a mark scheme which they cannot possibly attain?
You only give them those three.
Right. So what you're saying is, as a department, you would have these are the developments in causation, and I'm picking these three for this particular task. But you don't. But then I do know where I'd be going with the next stage if I do have children that are able to do that and how to move them forward. And it is a case of you do adapt. You plan and you mark for all of your own children, but it's again looking at the bigger picture and seeing it beyond that as well. Thank you very much. Some food for thought, hopefully.
That's class.
Are you going to be robust now? You're going to stand up to your senior management and tell them no, you're not using levels anymore?
Definitely not.
Sally, so fill me in on the last 8 years then.
Well, I taught in Doncaster and I moved to Peterborough's head of department.
Right.
Since then I've become AST and professional tutor, so
Brilliant.
quite a lot of things. How about you, enjoying living in London?
Yeah, I mean, the school is very, very diverse, and I love that. Do you know what I mean? And we're in the middle of the medieval court at the minute, so it's so we've another lesson to do, and so the miller was found guilty of grinding bone into the flour and all this sort of thing. So that was all fine. Then the next kind of inquiry is then around the Black Death, and what we're looking at doing is nearly continuing their character basically, but the way we're going to look at that is going to be sort of what would make a really good Black Death story, which is an inquiry that most of us use.
You're going to have a sort of a mark scheme.
Definitely.
Mark scheme.
No, because I think with the Black Death one, it's a more formal assessment, so therefore we do have that mark scheme. Just that idea of like what, and again, I'm going to throw in your ideas of kind of what we could know what we'd expect students to be doing. There's no point reinventing the wheel.
Absolutely.
How we assess pupils at the minute is not strikingly different from kind of how Sally's looking at it. And although I think we do have the levels in the back of our head, again they're not a straitjacket, as it were, but just a kind of a means to kind of help us reflect and therefore make our own kind of sort of assessment profiles really on each assessment relevant to what we're actually testing.
William sits down to eat with his wife. Now listen to this last bit. 7 weeks later, William will be eating alone. What about that for a story?
See, by the end of this, 1/3 of us will be dead. Doesn't sound too good. Okay. Now, Black Death came to the village. William's wife died. They killed another woman, Mad Agnes, and that was it. Is my story better? It hasn't got much detail, so this story has a bit of detail, right? Okay. In terms of assessment of the Black Death story, what I'm looking at is a number of things. At the lowest level, I want that they understand the progress of the Black Death. At the second level, I want them to start building in the short-term and long-term results. Then at the next level up, I want them to really build in a lot of this information from the medieval village, comparing things within the same period but across different inquiries, if you like. And then at the highest level, this issue about the importance of underlying causes. Would people have been happy if the bailiff had have died, and those sorts of things show a very good contextual knowledge.
Some people thought that the air was full of bad omens. Others thought that maybe strangers came around with bad news, so the people tried to kill the strangers. Another apparent rumour was that there was a smell in the city that was causing the Black Death. That's all I've written so far.
I'm just looking at Akash's now, and he's got on very well. I mean, I think again was this idea of rumours, you know what I mean, and the kind of the air being full of bad things. The good thing is he's kind of very much talking
as a medieval person would. These people were really scared, and therefore the fact that he's perhaps pointing that out then is that's quite significant. The other thing that he's beginning to talk about is he's beginning to talk about this idea that for the survivors it was quite a successful thing, and he's explained in quite a bit of detail about the issue of rising wages and those sorts of things, and that's quite interesting. No, certainly I think looking at the books, I mean, I don't think it's all about what's written in the books, of course, but yet to have some sort of capturing of thought which is in there, I think does show their progress. I think this is a good example. What I think a medieval village looked like, what we're getting is 3 igloos, a road and some grass. So that's pretty much what we know about medieval villages. Now, in terms of where we've come now, well, suddenly it's I've been involved in making a very accurate manorial court role play. It was accurate because of these reasons. There are problems with finding out about ordinary people because they don't have important roles to play, and therefore it's harder to find out things about them. Well, that's brilliant.
Do you then tell me have you told your mum what we've been doing this term? Okay, so what topic have we been doing? Or what period of history have we been doing?
Medieval times.
Medieval times, right. And then we did one big assessment so far. And what was that on?
Why William won the battle.
Why did William win the Battle of Hastings? So what was one of the big reasons William won?
Because he took the initiative.
He took the initiative, okay. Can you tell us what you mean by that?
Like when Harold's men thought they won with William's supposed retreating.
Yeah.
And then his men went down, and then William then formed a circle to slaughter Harold's men.
What do you think of that? Hey? Historian in the making or what?
Yeah.
Tanvir, how do we think things are going in history?
Fine.
Fine. How do we know that things are going fine?
Because it's interesting.
Right.
I enjoy doing medieval things.
Really, really pleased with how Tanvir's getting on. And as I say, what the next kind of series of things is called synthesis. So it's bringing things together, okay? And that's you really then coming to your own decisions. And that shows that you're really progressing, okay? Right, Jordan. In Jordan's oral work, I'm very pleased with how he's getting on. He's explaining things in detail. He's saying this is the most important reason, or he's asking good questions. He had to play the part of a medieval priest, and he did that really, really well. I think when it comes to the written work, what do you think?
So bad.
What?
So bad.
Oh, no, don't be saying that. Jordan's very able. And I think his written work isn't reflecting the thinking that he's doing. Okay? Is that fair enough? Oh, come on. Have I said anything unfair?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Some of them have made excellent progress, some have made good progress, some have made progress in spite of me probably, and but I think what I'm pleased at was that all the responses there tonight know that they have made some progress. And one of the things that Sally Burnham focused on, the fact that her pupils could say how they were doing and how they know, and therefore that's something that I've really wanted to develop. So that's the end of a term. That's 2 weeks. I've 2 weeks to kind of to chew it over now, and then we'll try it all again. So as I say, that's pretty much that. It's now 8 o'clock, so I think I'm just gonna go home for the night now, really. And we did it. See you soon. Okay, cheers.